Okay, so now that we know how to create a WEX card as well as void WEX card, we'll also want to learn how to go into previously created WEX cards, edit, check on status, and make sure we add all little details that we need to add. So in order to go to previous WEX cards, you can go ahead and head here to Manage Purchase Log. Once you have the Manage Purchase Log screen up, pop up, the search criteria box will pop up with it. This screen here will automatically populate with the data ahead of when you're searching, just to make sure that you can search all previous cards beforehand. But what you want to go ahead and do in order to find a specific card, you can go ahead and use the search criteria box as your advantage here. So since this created date, if you wanted to find it by a created date, so when the card was created, you can click on this pencil button. This will allow you to edit any search criteria that have already been created, and then it'll go ahead and automatically input it here. So you see the created date, greater than January 24th, 2017. So that's automatically populated. We'll go ahead and add that back in. Other ways that you can find cards are always going to be shown here. So amount is the amount of that the card was with. So you can go ahead and put $150 in if you need to find an overage or something like that. So you paid $150, you need to find out how much the customer paid. You can go ahead and search 150, see all the cards that were made for that amount, and then see which ones have customer pay notes in them. Another way you can do it is you can search it by the job ID itself. So you're going to go here, job ID, you'll click on that bar, go down to job ID, boom, you'll click on that, and then you can search specific job IDs. This will allow you to reference a specific job within WEX. Another thing you can do, you can go to the provider. So if you know which provider you charged, you can type their name in here or the first few words of their name, letters of their name, whatever. It'll automatically filter out everything that wasn't as such, and you can search for providers that way. One of the things you can do also while you're here searching is you can edit cards. So I'm going to go ahead and search for a specific card that I know I want to touch base with on here. So we're going to go ahead and search for this. 63376. Oh, you know what? Look at that. Oh, my. Did not change that to job ID. So you change that to job ID. You go ahead and put that number again. And then it'll go ahead and populate it in the search criteria. And then you'll click on search. And boom, that'll pop up the card for that specific job ID. You usually should be one, and in some cases it might be multiple, but for the most part you're only going to get one card for every job ID you put in. So now that you have the card that you want to edit in, you go ahead and click on it, and clearly you're going to click on the edit button. Okay, and so one of the reasons you want to edit the card for something like that is if the price of the service changes. Say they get on scene and it turns into a tow from originally what was a battery jump, so it goes from battery jump to a tow. You can change the amount here to accurately reflect what the tow would cost instead. But you can also go ahead and maybe if you reassigned a provider, so that changed the job ID here, you can change the job ID here and you can change the name of the provider. So this just allows you to go back into what you originally inputted for the card and just kind of make those changes. So we'll go ahead and save that for now. Since we didn't make any changes, I'll go back into managing the purchase log to delve a little bit deeper into that. One of the other things we also want to make sure we can be able to do is search for the job, search for the specific credit card, and find the card information. So say you went ahead and made this credit card in advance just because you knew what the price of the tow would be. You made the card so you had it on file, and that way somebody could reference it back, so they can go back to the job. They see it's been made already. They go ahead and go here, and you click on View Card Info. That'll allow you to see the card number again, as well as the expiration date, and CSC code. After you're able to do that, you can give that all this information back to the provider for any reason whatsoever, whether it be they need to refund you, or they just didn't correctly take it down the first time, or they need it for the first time in general. You can kind of go to that for any reason whatsoever. One of the last things that you'll need to be able to do here with WEX is to kind of check whether or not the card has been charged, whether an authorization has been made for the card to be charged. So what we'll go ahead and do is you'll go View Recent Authorizations. This will show you when a card has been charged or when it hasn't been. Alright, so you can see here that there has been no recent authorization for this card. That means the card has not yet been charged. That means it's still live and still open. No reason for us to close that card out yet. The chart provider may have just have that on hold until they can charge it, or their accounting team can go ahead and charge it. But we'll go ahead and look for another card that has been charged so we can get a view of that. Luckily, I have a job ID in my pocket for that, so we'll go ahead here. Alright, so I have my new job ID for the job which we want to search. We inputted it into our search criteria. You go ahead and click search again. And boom, it'll pop up another job ID. Now if I'm correct, we go ahead and view recent authorizations. And boom, you can see right here that this job has been authorized for a purchase. It has been approved. The amount of which we put on the card, the amount of which was charged, and the authorization request, authorization type. So this is kind of just to make sure that a card has been charged or has not been charged, just to make sure we're on top of it. If a provider cancels, we want to make sure that they haven't charged the card or something along those lines. But overall, the manage purchase log section of WEX is going to be an extremely helpful tool for managing all of our payments to providers and making sure that we're staying on top of what we're sending out from the company, and also kind of how we're being charged with our providers.